Hey guys, so Jackie M here. Over the weekend, I ran a workshop on how to make Hakka Lei Cha, and I just want to kind of like do this video as kind of like a Cliff Notes version of it so that you don't have to sit around and watch me ramble for too long. If you want the detailed version, you can go to my website jackiem.com.au and just do a search for Hakka Lei Cha. There should be, I mean, depending on when you catch this video, it should be one of the more recent blog posts here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to basically break this down into several parts. The idea being that Hakka Lei Cha, in my mind, if you're making it from start to finish, it'll take you hours. But if you broke it down into three main components, you can do components 1 and 2 and make and set and forget sort of thing. And then with component 3, which is just before serving, that will only take you about 20 minutes, give or take, depending on how involved you want your trimmings to be. Okay, so let me pull up some pre-recorded videos here and I'll talk through what's happening in each of them. Okay, here we go. So this first one here was actually from a trip to Malaysia that we made years ago. And what it is us making, okay, just let me check that the audio is not too loud. Okay, should be okay. So this is a Hakka village in Malaysia that we visited courtesy of Tourism Malaysia with my Masters of Malaysian Cuisine chef. And here they're actually demoing how they make Hakka Lei Cha. These are the herbs that go into the paste, which is the part 1 of my basically the way I frame how to prepare this recipe. Okay, now the herbs, just as a heads up, are a little bit different to the herbs that I ended up using in my experiments with it. Basically what it is now, you're seeing this is the traditional implement used for grinding the Lei Cha paste. Now you'll notice that the bowl, we showed a lot of interest because if you zoomed in, you would be able to see that it actually has these ridges along the inside walls. And what she's doing now is adding a combination of black sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, and roasted peanuts. And then you use that pole, that wooden pole thing, and you grind it. Okay, the action of grinding is lui in Hakka or in Chinese, and it sounds the same as the word thunder. Okay, so a lot of people who don't read Chinese but hear the word lui, they think it means thunder tea. So when we say Lei Cha ground tea, they think it means thunder tea, right? Hence why it's sometimes called Hakka thunder tea. It's actually got nothing to do with thunder. And then what people do invariably is they reverse guess why it's called thunder tea, and they say since it's being pounded that it must create the sounds of thunder, like, you know, loud thunderous pounding. But you notice we're not actually pounding this, we're actually just basically grinding it along the inside of the bowl. Okay, so it's a lot of confusion all around, but the point is this is how they would make it traditionally. You grind the peanuts and the sesame seeds, and then you're going to add some water to kind of like turn it into a paste to make it easier to grind. And then you're going to add the vegetables as well. Okay, so they've added a bit of water in between here, and that's me and my Masters of Malaysian Cuisine chefs. That's South African Paul, my Paul, who's having a go at grinding as well. And here they've added those herbs that they've lightly blanched in the wok earlier. My version is not going to be just blanching the herbs. Okay, I actually fry it up, but you know, you can do it a multitude of different ways. Now, so, and we're gonna fast forward and you're gonna see how this is the basically the Hakka lady who is demoing it, and she does it a lot more efficiently, as you can see. Okay, but the funny thing about this whole thing was that at the end she mentioned, oh, this is just to show you guys how it's made. When we make it for ourselves, we actually just use a blender. Okay, we whip out our blender, which goes to show that we Malaysians are not averse to borrowing modern technology to produce our food. Okay, so, and the other interesting thing about this particular session was that at the end she actually served, so this is what happens with the paste. You add water to it, boiling water to it, and that turns it into a soup. Okay, so this is part 1 of Hakka Lei Cha, which is the Hakka tea paste slash soup. Okay, you would turn it into a soup just before serving, but if you were just storing it, you wouldn't. Okay, and that's the interesting thing here as well. She serves it with actually rice bubbles, okay, rice puffs, as opposed to regular rice, unlike a lot of other recipes I see online. Okay, this is me having a go at making it for the first time at home. Okay, my paste is made up of a combination of, this is what's called mugwort, right? And you notice I'm stir frying it with garlic. Okay, healthy dose of garlic, mugwort, and I'm going to add a bunch of different types of herbs, including coriander. And these are actually okay. So I'm just showing through. That's actually Asian mint. I'm just flashing through some of the herbs that I use in my particular version as well. So you want essentially Asian mint, you want Asian basil, a Thai basil, and I actually put in some laksa leaves as well. This is what I know as laksa leaves, which is also known as Vietnamese mint here in Australia. And the reason I put it in was because I actually had some laksa leaves left over, and this is the Thai basil. Okay, these are what I use. And one of my my Malaysian Hawker Pro students could not get her hands on Asian basil or Asian mint, and she actually used, and this is another type of mint, I think, but I chucked all of these in. Okay, so it's one of these recipes that are very versatile, and essentially use what you can get your hands on as opposed to what you absolutely must have. Okay, that's just coriander. So the point is that when you're making Lei Cha, here's my batch of all kinds of different types of herbs I'm chucking in, frying it up in oil with garlic. Okay, so if you're averse to having too much oil in this dish, you can just use water, like what that lady did at the Matcha Hakka Village demo. Okay, and that's the coriander that went in. So healthy amount of herbs, incredibly healthy. And then you just kind of like want to just lightly stir fry it and cover it and let it actually make sure it's cooked through properly. You can add a bit of water and cover it and let the steam do its job if you like as well. Okay, so in the meantime, what you want to do also is you want some Chinese tea leaves. Okay, any kind of tea leaves will work. And I actually usually have a big batch of pu'er. You can use oolong, like any kind of Chinese tea will work. Okay, and some people use fresh tea leaves. I think the Hakka Village demo, in that particular session, the lady actually used fresh tea leaves. I'm just using tea leaves from my pantry. Yeah, so you can see the black tea leaves in my Thermomix there. I'm just chucking in these herbs, and we're going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to blend it to a paste. And I did it into stages. I blended this a bit and then added the crushed nuts and the sesame seeds. But in subsequent sessions, I just chucked them all together. Because this was my first time making, I just want to make sure I didn't stuff it up. Okay, so as you can see, pretty straightforward. I'm just trying to fast forward this a little bit if I can. Let me just see. Yeah, add a bit of seasoning, and in that particular batch, it's my first time making it, I actually just used what do you call it? I just used salt. In subsequent sessions, I actually played around with using salt and pepper. In subsequent sessions, I played around with using chicken powder or salt and MSG. You can also try using mushroom seasoning, which is beautiful, by the way. Mushroom seasoning keeps it vegan. Okay. But it tastes like it's got this really nice umami flavor, like as though it's got MSG, but it's not actually MSG at all. But it is quite pricey, okay, which is why I don't usually use it for commercial reasons, commercial considerations. So I blended it. This was what it looks like after that, and then I added some ground peanuts as well. Okay, but like I said, in subsequent batches, I actually just chucked them all in together and blended it all at the same time. The tea leaves, the herbs, the peanuts, the sesame seeds all together. Okay, but because this was my first time having a go at it, I just kind of like tried to be a bit pedantic and make sure I ticked all the right boxes. And this is how it should look at the end. If you're using a thermocook, that was a Thermomix, by the way. If you were using a thermocook, you would probably be blending it for about 2 minutes on the top speed setting, okay, give or take, depending on the volume. a little bit less in the Thermomix because the Thermomix's bowl by design is like a blender. Thermocooks is more like a food processor, or leans more towards that, so it's got a wider base, so it needs to work a little bit harder to blend everything into a paste form. Okay, so this is part one of the component, like, you know, the first component of Hakka Lei Cha is the paste. And like I said earlier, you're going to reconstitute it by adding boiling water to it to turn it into a soup. And the amount of water you add is kind of like a personal preference thing. And I actually prefer it quite rich and creamy, so you end up eating more what seems more like a risotto as opposed to a rice swimming in soup. Okay, but again, like, entirely up to you how you want it. But in paste form, you can actually freeze these in silicone molds, which is what I've started doing, and then store it in your freezer, and then just defrost them as you need. Okay. All the details on that will be on my blog, jackiem.com.au. I can't really fit too much content in this video, and I'm trying to keep pretty as short as I can, sort of thing. Okay, now this is part 3 of the set of ingredients for Hakka Lei Cha. Okay, these are the fresh ingredients. So you see here, I'm actually slicing up some what's known as firm or hard tofu. You can find this in the Asian grocery store refrigerator section, and you want to dice it. It's a little bit painful dicing it. You can leave it out. You can use other types of like tofu puffs. I think would work quite well with this as well. So it's a cooked product, but you want to just kind of like heat it through at the very least, or stir fry it, which is what I do with garlic and oil. Okay, but you know, if again you're trying to keep oil to a minimum, you can literally just blanch this or microwave it or whatever. Okay, you notice next to my wok on the bottom, you know, so like to the left of my wok, you can see some dried shrimp that's soaking in hot water. That's part of part 2. Okay, part 1, the paste you can make ahead of time, freeze and whatnot. Part 2 are also things you can make ahead of time and keep in your pantry. Dried shrimp, because by its virtue is basically a pantry ingredient. What you want to do again is after you soak it, soften a little bit, you want to fry it up with a bit of oil and or garlic, or you can literally just poach it as well. But I like my garlic. I don't have any health issues that I know of to be worrying about my oil intake. So I basically just sauteed all these ingredients, which included a combination of dried and fresh ingredients. Okay, as far as the fresh ingredients, we're talking about Asian greens. We're talking about things like gailan, choy sum. There's some cabbage as well, shredded cabbage. You can use like even English spinach, whatever you can find. Okay, now in this first particular batch, I actually, instead of cooking rice specially for this, I had some leftover cold rice in the fridge, which I decided to fry up. Okay, as though I were frying fried rice. Okay, this is a very plain fried rice. In essence, it's just oil and garlic and cold rice tossed through with a bit of seasoning, and voila, you're gonna end up with like you know, fried rice to serve with your Lei Cha. More traditionally, you would serve it with just plain steamed rice, or rice that's been fried up with garlic. This is, we're talking raw rice before you actually cook it in a rice cooker or whatever. You rinse the rice granules, the raw rice granules, in some water. You heat up oil and garlic, chuck in the rice, toss it around a bit till it's aromatic, transfer the contents into a rice cooker or pot or whatever, and you cook it as though you were cooking rice as per normal. Okay, and that will give you a garlicky steamed rice. But like I said, in this particular instance, I decided to just be a little bit creative and also clear out my fridge a little bit by using cold rice stir fried with garlic. Okay, and this is basically what we've got, and I'm doing the same with all these other vegetables here. Heating up some oil, garlic, tossing in the vegetables in batches, like this is the cabbage, and then adding some seasoning, which again can be just straight salt, or it can be salt and MSG, it can be chicken powder, it can be soy sauce if you like, and I've seen someone use oyster sauce. Okay, so to each their own. So there you go. And this is the minced preserved radish, okay? And I'll talk a lot more about the minced preserved radish in my blog. I won't go into it too much, but it's what the Chinese call choy bo. And essentially, there are a number of different varieties for it. I'll mention my preference, but the idea is the same. It's basically like a crunchy, salty and sweet vegetable that's been preserved, and I'm frying it up here with some garlic. Okay, you can fry it with garlic and onion, or you can just blanch it with hot water, and there you go. That's all you need to do with it. Essentially, all these dishes are meant to be very, very simple and plain. Okay, and it's a matter of finding what you can get your hands on at in your neck of the woods. Okay, so don't stress too much about it. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you was actually, you saw the effort that went into slicing and dicing the vegetables. Okay, I'm just going to show you now that this is another way of doing it, is using your food processor with the slicing attachment. Okay, these are snake beans that I sliced through, so it literally took a second for that to go through instead of me trying to chop it up by hand. It's not as pretty as if you were chopping it up by hand, but it's fine for home consumption. Okay, it's not as pretty because some of the snake beans went in sideways, so it's just a matter of perfecting how you feed it through the chute. Okay, so the same with all other types of vegetables. You know, I even use wong apa. This is a Chinese vegetable, so yeah, just feed it through the chute and get your vegetables shredded that way. So that's pretty straightforward. And the next thing I wanted to show you at the end, this is a separate batch that I'm going to show you. Okay, so, and I'm just frying up something here, but essentially I wanted to show you how it's, okay, I was cooking up some more vegetables. Okay, so any kind of vegetable, the method is the same: oil, garlic if you want. Chuck in the vegetables, stir fry it for a minute or two, add some seasoning, in this case salt, okay, salt plus MSG, or just chicken powder, or whatever else you like, okay, soy sauce and all that. Okay, so this is all the accoutrements that go with your Hakka Lei Cha. I've taken some paste here and added some boiling water to it to turn it into a sloppy, muddy soup. Again, like I said, if you like it more runny, you can add more water. I prefer it like creamy, okay? And you would serve your rice with the soup and all the other things that go with it. And just to quickly go back to my theory of thinking of this in three components, remember the paste is one component, freeze it, and you can whip it out anytime you want some. The dried ingredients like the peanuts, the roasted peanuts, the dried shrimp, which I'm adding now, ikan bilis, which is dried anchovies, this is the minced preserved radish, okay? Those ingredients, you can fry them up and then keep them in your pantry. They will keep for weeks, if not months. And then, some of them will keep for months. And then, the fresh ingredients, which are the rice and the stir-fried greens and all that, those are what you need to cook just before serving, or at the very least cook and keep in the refrigerator for serving, for reheating and serving later on in the week. Okay, so that will cut down your prep time on the day itself down to about 20 minutes. Okay, so that's your Hakka Lei Cha, and I served that there with some peanuts that actually have the skin on, but more traditionally, and in my future batches, I actually served it with peanuts with the skin off. Okay, that's the dried anchovy, ikan bilis, okay, which is something you can prep and keep and set aside. Okay, and I always tend to have some homemade fried crispy shallots, a recipe for which you can also find at jackym.com.au. Just do a search in the search bar to find out how to make your own crispy onion, and I just added in. Okay, so that's your Hakka Lei Cha. It's not only healthy, it's delicious, and I think everyone could use with having more vegetables and herbs in their diet. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Let me just change the screen back to the front. Okay, here you go. So guys, like I said, I couldn't fit everything into that particular video, but go to my website for the full recipe and also break down all the ingredients, and also I might actually prepare a separate PDF with all the iterations of the different herbs as well, because I think that's what a lot of people stumble on. Okay, thanks again guys, I'll see you in my next video.